How's it going, everyone? I am back with another video. This is going to be my Patriots Week 7 recap video. I'm going to go through the Patriots game that took place yesterday. Usually I record this later in the week, but it's currently the day after the game was played, Monday, as I'm recording this. So I'm going to be going through the game the Patriots played yesterday. I can't believe it's already Week 7 against the Titans. Going to break down my takeaways, interpretations from the game, all that good stuff. So yeah, just diving straight in here. So I guess general thoughts on the game. Good team win. The first half was a little bit shaky, specifically our defense. Our offense was fine. We put up 17 in the first half. But defensively, kind of like the case most of the year, the Titans, our opponent, went right down the field and put points up on the board. Every opponent has done that except the Dolphins week 2 and then the Bills 2 weeks ago. And the Bills probably were going to, but they fumbled it on a trick play that they ran. Otherwise, they probably at least attempt a field goal on that drive. So, again, that needs to be tightened up. Slow start defensively, so we got to clean that up a bit. The Titans, it looked like they could not be stopped. We could not stop them for the life of us in the first half defensively. I know they only scored 13 points in the first half, but they were moving the ball like up and down the field. And we were down 10-3 at one point in the game, I think in the second quarter. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, are we seriously going to lose this game? But then, May and the offense got it going. And then in the second half, the defense locked in. We scored 14 in the third. We're up 31-13 and then just protected the lead from there. So May, phenomenal game again. He only had 2 incompletions, broke a record that Brady had for the highest completion percentage from a quarterback with more than 20 or with 20 plus pass attempts, I think was the stat. So May only 2 incompletions, absolutely insane. Continues to be in the MVP discussion. Absolutely insane game from him. He got banged up in this game too, 2 separate times. First one, he had to come out of the game. I thought he was honestly going to stay out of the game. It looked like he, dinged his head. I'm like, oh, great. We're probably just going to keep him out. Hopefully it's not a concussion, but he came back in the game. Dobbs came in the game, and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, here we go. Mr. Hospital Ball himself, Josh Dobbs. That's like all he did in the preseason was throw hospital balls, but he only attempted 1 pass, and it was actually a pretty nice pass. He made a play, got a big third down, so good for him coming in the game. Then the next play, May came right back in. Yeah, good looking drive to open the first half, and then on the next possession, Cam Ward just lost his handle on the ball, and Chason scooped it up, ran it in the end zone, got a touchdown. Chason also had another sack later in the game with a couple minutes left, if I remember right. So he had a pretty good game in this one. I think we had 5 sacks on Cam Ward, so good game from our defensive line, getting pressure on Cam Ward. General thoughts, what else about this game? Stevenson looked good. The run game came alive. Titans are a terrible run defense, so that was good to see the run game finally come back to life. Henderson, would like to see more of him. He did nothing in this game. We barely played him, but at least Stevenson looked good. Didn't fumble. I hold my breath every time he has the ball, that he doesn't fumble. Could have been a trap game. Was a bit worried about the interim head coach hire boost. Mike McCoy taking over as interim head coach. They fired Callahan. A lot of the time when a coach gets fired that has lost the locker room, like Callahan, I'm just guessing, but I'm assuming he did from what I read and heard the players and things like that. Looks like Callahan lost the locker room. So when a team fires a coach that has lost the locker room, needed to be fired, the players sometimes have a new sense of energy to them. They look much better in the short term at least. And I was a bit worried about that for us this game. And it looked like that might have been the case when we were down 10-3. The offense couldn't be stopped. They tried to simplify the offense. Or Cam Ward report came out saying, and it looks like they did that. Kind of some simple concepts like some bootleg, short passing, things like that they weren't really running much under Callahan. And their one touchdown this game was off a very similar play that we ran against the Saints last week that got Pop Douglas his touchdown. So I don't know if they were watching film and just ripped the play off or what happened. It was a very similar play. Um, yeah, we didn't fall into the Titans are a bad team, but could have been a trap game, third straight road game. Um, could have been a letdown. We didn't let that affect us. Down 10-3, looking kind of iffy at first, and then we played much better from there on out. So avoided the trap game. The new head coach interim hire, morale boost. Thought that played an impact, but we overcame that at the start. And then when once May and company went down the field and he hit Booty again for a touchdown at the end of the first half, that's when I kind of was getting confidence. I'm like, all right, I'm feeling pretty good about how this game's going. I think our defense is going to adjust well at the half and we'll be fine. Offense just has to keep doing what they're doing. We'll be fine. And that's exactly what happened. We scored 14 in the third. And then, we didn't really do too much from there on out. Offensively, we moved the ball on our drives, got a few first downs, but we had to punt on the rest of our drives. I mentioned May got banged up. The second time he got banged up, he took a big hit on 3rd and 12. I'm like, Jesus, we were up 31-13, and there's like 7 minutes left. I'm like, if they don't score here, we should just honestly put Dobbs in, just hand it off every play, or just conservative things like screen passes, because May's banged up, and this game is pretty much over if they don't score here. What else in this game? Yeah, those are just kind of my general thoughts. I'll just run through the stats here. So as I mentioned, May, another phenomenal game, playing absolutely spectacular this season in the MVP discussion. Dobbs, I mentioned that one play to Pop Douglas on 3rd down. That was nice. Stevenson, as I mentioned, had a pretty good game. May, 62 rush yards to add to his 222 passing. May was also 16 of 16 at one point. That was insane. Jennings, he obviously didn't play too much, but I liked what I saw from him. Mike Vrabel talking about he found his 5-minute back. So it looks like Mike Vrabel liked him too. What else? Oh yeah, receiving core. Pretty nice balance between the receivers here. Diggs had a good game. Booty had that big catch I mentioned at the end of the first half. Matt Collins had 2 big catches. One of them was on 3rd and long, if I remember right. I think it was our opening drive of the second half there. Pop Douglas only had 3 catches for 17 yards, but one of them was a 4th and 1, and May threw it behind him. He's wide open, and May threw it behind him, one of his rare misfires this season. And Pop Douglas made a spectacular catch, and then we ended up scoring on that drive. I think it was the next play to Stevenson. Then Austin Hooper, he also had a nice touchdown catch on 3rd and goal. That we got away with a false start, it looked like, but great catch by Hooper there. Go to the Titans stats here. Cam Ward, I actually thought looked good in this game for the most part. A lot of those passing yards came in the first half. The second half, we kind of shut them down offensively for the most part. But Ward, I thought, played fine this game. The pick was just kind of unlucky. I forget who it was, but I think if I remember right, he hit him right in the hands and it deflected off of him, and Marcus Jones got a pick. Rushing, the Titans haven't been able to run the ball all year. They didn't really do too much running this game. They had a really good run defense, although they didn't even really try. They only attempted, 11 rushes to their 2 running backs, and then DK, they handed it off to him. I think it was on a jet sweep, and we blew it up. DK had that touchdown I mentioned on that copycat play that Pop Douglas had last week. He had a couple other catches besides that. Then they kind of balanced it out there. The Titans, Pollard was their second leading receiver. But yeah, pretty good balance in the Titans there. Lockett, I'm going to assume he's going to be traded away at the trade deadline. Obviously, the Titans are not contending this year, and Lockett's, getting up there in age, probably doesn't have too many years left, so I assume he's probably going to be at least get some trade interest, I would imagine. Some rumors with the Raiders, maybe Pete Carroll wants him back there, although they're honestly, they might be even worse than the Titans, you can argue, even though I don't think they are, and they beat the Titans last week, but Jesus Christ, losing 31-0. Yes, it's the Chiefs, they're getting hot, but Really, you can't even put up a single point on the board. That was a pathetic performance. Um, anyway, going to the team stats here. Um, at first glance, I would say they're pretty telling of how the game went. Yeah, we, had almost 400 total yards of offense. Passing yards, they actually had four more than us, but I think that in large part that's just because we were trying to balance it out, and the Titans were pass heavy. And then, at the end of the game, when we're protecting a 31-13 lead, we're obviously run heavy, trying to drain the clock. Rush yards, we absolutely annihilated them in. It's good to see for once this season. We've been struggling to run the ball. One more yard per play. That may not seem like a lot, but in the NFL it is. Six more first downs. We are pretty good on third down, fourth down, perfect, 2-2. Again, probably got a bit fortunate. Pop Douglas on that 4th-and-1 made a ridiculous catch. Time possession, we dominated. Had 37 minutes compared to the Titans' 22. Penalties, we cleaned up a bit. We had 5, but they were only for 36 yards, so good to see that get cleaned up a bit. What else in this? Yeah, sacks allowed. Yeah, the line, ideally we wouldn't want to allow May to get sacked 4 times. Especially, like I mentioned, one of the ones it was incomplete, but he got hit on the play. It was 3rd and 12. He took a shot. May did. Hopefully that can get cleaned up. Although in pass pro, I feel like our line's been pretty solid this season for the most part. Yeah, we got to Cam Ward, sacked him 5 times. So that's pretty good, obviously. What else from this game? Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with this win. Again, I went into the game obviously pretty confident we should win. I figured we would win. I think I said like 27-16. So I was, close in my score prediction. Actually, did I say? I may have said. I think I said 27-16. Not 100% sure, but I was a bit off. A couple points for each team, but pretty close to my score prediction. I kind of expected us to jump out to an early lead and just control the game. That's obviously not exactly how the game went. We were trailing for a good portion of the first half, and then when May hit Booty for that touchdown at the end of the first half, we just dominated the game from there on out. Spectacular second half defensively, really tightened up. Again, we keep starting off slow, which obviously we want to avoid. But the good news is it seems like when we have to adjust on the fly, we're pretty good at that defensively. So Zach Core doing a good job as interim defensive coordinator. I like what he's been doing this season. Yeah, offense, really good game. Obviously, maybe you can say we should have, I don't want to say we took our foot off the gas in the second half, but I think we were just a bit more conservative. I guess you could critique that, but I'm fine with it considering the way the game was going. Plus, we were passing still. We just couldn't, convert. Vrabel, obviously, great win for him. Revenge game. He kept saying it's just another game. Things like that. Wasn't really playing into it, but I'm sure personally he, really wanted to get this game. The players in the locker room, May talks about how in the celebration in the locker room, he talked about how, all the guys love playing for Vrabel. They'd run through a wall for him. We love Vrabel up here. He's done a fantastic job. 4 wins in a row. Really should be 6-1 if we didn't hand the Steelers the game. And then that Raiders loss is looking worse and worse. It's, again, I don't think they are, but you can make an argument they're the worst team in the entire league. They look absolutely terrible. And that was just week 1, new coaching staff, new scheme, new everything. I think we were just, working out the kinks there. What else? So yeah, I'm not too concerned with that week 1 Raiders loss. Obviously, we rebounded fine. We're 5-2. We're actually the number 2 seed in the AFC right now, which is absolutely insane. And yes, we played very bad teams for the most part. The past 3. The past 2, Saints, Titans, 2 of the worst. They're bottom feeders. The Panthers at the time were kind of a bottom feeder. They're playing a lot better now, but they were a bottom feeder. I guess that one looks better now that they're 4-3. Obviously, the Bills win looks good, even though the Bills are struggling a bit. But I feel like the Bills kind of a spurt every season where they struggle for a few games, then they're fine. What else? What else? What else? We get the Browns next week. That could be a challenge defensively, but they just went off against the Dolphins, so at least they got a good game out of the way. They're a bad team, so hopefully they got a good performance out of the way right before they play us. Their defense is legit, but obviously their offense is bad. Their run game and Judkins is good, but again, we are a really good run defense, so we can stop the Browns' run game and make Dylan Gabriel and company pass. I feel pretty good about that game. I think we'll win that game absolutely. Then we get the Falcons. That'll be a tough game. Which Falcons team is going to show up? I think we should win that game, but Falcons were great one game, then they were like either average, mid, or like a very poor team. So the Falcons' consistency has been their issue this year. And then I think, then is it? I'm pretty sure it's our bye after that. Then we get the Bucs. That'll be a tough game. But anyway, don't want to go through a whole schedule here and get ahead of myself. But yeah, overall, really good team win. Avoided the trap game. Overcame the interim head coach morale boost. Titans redid their offense. He adjusted well on the fly. Want to avoid the slow starts. Would like to see more Henderson, but good to see the run game come alive. Definitely a lot more positives than negatives this game. I think if you just look at the score, and this isn't always the case, but if you just look at the score, I think it's pretty telling of how this game went. Pretty happy with the win. Hopefully we can beat the Browns next week, go to 6-2. That'd be huge. And yeah, I'm trying to think of what else. Yeah, I'm probably as soon as I end this video, I'm sure I'll remember something I was going to say. But yeah, overall, pretty happy with the win. I'll wrap the video up here. Big takeaway, good win. Avoided the trap game, run game, good performance from them, mainly Stevenson. May, phenomenal game. Defense, nice adjustments in the second half. Overall, good team win. Big takeaways. But yeah, I will end the video here once. Again, like I said, this is Monday as I'm recording this. Hopefully tomorrow I'm going to record my Week 7 recap video. We got the last Monday Night Football doubleheader, so that'll be fun to watch later, especially, well, I think both games will be good, but I'm more looking forward to Tampa and Detroit. I think that could be an absolute shootout. Houston and Seattle, I think, will be absolutely a low-scoring game. You get two really good defenses, but I think it'll be entertaining still, because I think it'll be low-scoring, but it's because of good defense rather than bad offense, if that makes any sense. But anyway, I'll wrap it up here. Be on the lookout for my Week 7 recap video, and then my Week 8 score predictions video I'll release later in the week if you're interested in that. But I will end it here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed, and take it easy, guys.